Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to this informational webinar by Paklaunch. The informational webinar is about a collaboration between Paklaunch and the US-Pakistan Women's Council. We're going to start giving you information about this. Ali, if you could share the first slide, that would be excellent. So this collaboration has to do with providing an accelerator for women in Pakistan. To tell you a little bit about Paklaunch, Paklaunch was started as a single WhatsApp group by Ali in San Francisco on the 29th of April, 2020. The vision behind Paklaunch is to help build Pakistan into the top 10 tech ecosystems in the world by 2030. Paklaunch so far has helped and continues to help startups raise funds, host international conferences and webinars, conduct trainings, workshops, etc. And you can see some details underneath that as of March 31st, 2023. But moving on to this collaboration, on the next slide, you can see that the objective behind this collaboration is to increase the pipeline of investment-ready entrepreneurs while enabling early-stage entrepreneurs to gain skills, networks, and information critical to launching and scaling companies and graduating to late-stage companies. The program content. The program will consist of 6 one-hour webinars, office hours, and will culminate in a pitch competition. The immersive webinars will be led by business leaders and entrepreneurs. The dates are listed below, starting April 30th, ending on July 23rd. And as far as office hours are concerned, the cohort participants will have access to office hours with the successful entrepreneurs to help refine and develop their business pitch and ask any questions related to developing and scaling a business. The pitch competition, very critical. Participants will submit business decks to receive feedback on their business ideas, and finalists have an opportunity to pitch their business ideas to leading US and Pakistan investors. Of course, there will be a certificate of completion, which will be issued jointly by Paklaunch and USPWC. Note, participants it is mandatory that you attend all 6 webinars to be eligible to participate in the virtual office hours or to pitch in the competition. Now that you know the details of what this collaboration is about, I would like to introduce Jocelyn Steiner. The process. Let's just go over the process very quickly. The program requirements, essential. Applicants must meet the following criteria to be considered for the program. You must be a woman business owner and a citizen of Pakistan. You must be currently living in Pakistan, fluent in written and spoken English, an early stage entrepreneur with a proven business model. The application process, as listed, is that each applicant must submit an application package to Paklaunch by no later than noon, April 20th, 2023. The first cohort will be accepting applications for up to 60 Pakistani women business owners. Finalists will be notified by April 25th, 2023. The process to complete the application, or if you have any questions, is listed below, and we will be sharing this slide again before the end of this informational webinar. Thank you, Ali, for assisting with the slides. And let me just go on ahead quickly and jump into introducing our first guest. Her name is Jocelyn Steiner. She is a Senior Economic Advisor and Deputy Director of the US-Pakistan Women's Council. Good afternoon, Jocelyn, since you are in Washington. And thank you so much for taking out the time, not just to join us today, to bring people up to speed on your motivation, the council's motivation to collaborate with Paklaunch and to help enable women in Pakistan, but what you hope to attain out of this.
Thank you so much, Shumaisa, and thank you, Ali, and everyone for joining us today. Good afternoon to those in the East Coast, which I know Shumaisa and I are, and good morning to those of you in the Bay Area or on the West Coast, and good evening to all of our good friends joining us from Pakistan. Thank you so much for taking the time. And first, I'll say Ramadan Kareem, because I know this is a very important season for everyone, and thank you for taking time out to join us. The U.S.-Pakistan Women's Council is a unique public-private partnership that seeks to increase women's economic participation in Pakistan through entrepreneurship, employment, and education. And it was established in 2012, so we are well into our 10th year. Actually, it's going to be going into our 11th year soon. Established by Shaista Mahmood, former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and then Ambassador of Pakistan to the U.S., Sherry Remen. And the council, as I mentioned, celebrated its 10th anniversary this past fall with Secretary Blinken and Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. It's a partnership between the State Department and Texas A&M University in cooperation with member organizations that include nonprofits, the private sector, and academia in both the United States and Pakistan. And the council has reached hundreds of thousands of women across Pakistan. By working with cooperating member companies and leaders in government and civil society in both countries, the Council has made a greater impact than we could have ever managed alone in bolstering women's entrepreneurship, access to education, and workforce participation in Pakistan. A legacy of success we hope to strengthen this year, and we hope to strengthen with one of our newest members, Paklaunch, and through this wonderful initiative, the Accelerator for Women Entrepreneurs. We are proud to say that the Council has launched several initiatives that are leading to meaningful transformation in the lives of Pakistani women and girls. With one of our other Council member companies, POD, a California-based technology company, we launched the Pakistan Million Women Mentors Initiative, which is designed to connect 1 million women and girls to mentors over the next 3 years. Mentors can be a critical component to success as they help build professional networks and serve as sounding boards to navigate the tough challenges that come with building companies or successful careers. To date, US and Pakistani corporations have committed to mentor 40,000 women in Pakistan through this effort. And corporations that have committed to this include S&P Global, Citi, Pepsi, Hum Networks, Zaffa Pharmaceuticals, KFC, and the Resource Group. The initiative reached more than 10,000 women alone in Pakistan between 2021 and 2022. And as you've just heard described, one of the major components of this accelerator with Paklaunch is a mentoring component, which we hope will help our women entrepreneurs to navigate these challenges faced in scaling up and growing their businesses. In addition, the Council has sponsored the Women's Business Opportunity Initiative, which aims to advance women's empowerment and supplier diversity in Pakistan by connecting women to the world through global supply chains. The Council launched the Women's Business Opportunity Initiative to pinpoint the challenges women-owned companies in Pakistan face when competing to sell goods or services to corporate buyers located in Pakistan and around the world. It also helps build an ecosystem in Pakistan to train and equip women-owned businesses with the knowledge to compete in local and global value chains. To support women in STEM, the Council successfully completed the first iteration of its US-Pakistan Future of Women in Energy Scholars Program last summer. This initiative is designed to foster women's leadership and participation in the energy economy in Pakistan. The program was supported by Texas A&M University, the US Department of Energy, USAID, and the US Embassy in Pakistan, and sponsored 17 female Pakistani undergraduate students pursuing degrees in engineering and the sciences to attend an intensive 2-week certificate program at Texas A&M University in Qatar. For 2 weeks, bright and talented future scientists of Pakistan from across Pakistan engaged in intensive academic program focused on the energy economy with a concentration on renewable energy. We are currently reviewing applications for this year's program to be held in June 2023. And with nearly 500 applications received for that program, the caliber and quality of the 20 women students who will be selected should be outstanding. Another initiative of the Council began in September 2022 when we launched the Future of Women and Work initiative led by S&P Global, Texas A&M, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's US-Pakistan Business Council. The Future of Women and Work initiative fostered research on gaps facing women in the formal economy in Pakistan resulting from the pandemic. Last fall, Texas A&M and S&P Global published a study raising public awareness of challenges facing women in Pakistan as a result of COVID-19. In the next phase of this initiative, the Council will bring together private sector companies to identify and commit to ways to address the challenges faced by women workers as a result of COVID-19. And now the Council is very excited to be partnering with member Paklaunch to introduce the USPWC-Paklaunch Accelerator for women entrepreneurs, which brings us all together today, and which you've just heard Shumaisa so eloquently describe and seen on the slides. Through this accelerator, we hope to make progress in increasing venture-backed investments focused on women founders. And I look forward to the panel discussion and to all of the future webinars, which should be very informative. And we look forward to welcoming the cohort of women entrepreneurs to join us in this exciting program. Thank you for joining us today, and I will turn it back over to you, Shumaisa.
Thank you, Jocelyn. And I will quickly start off with the questions that are coming in. The first question is there any fee for the accelerator program?
So I can take this one, Shumaisa.
Okay, sure, Ali.
There is no fee for the program.
Okay, the next question would be, is there a link for the accelerator sign up? I believe we mentioned that already, that link is provided on the slide, and we will incorporate that slide towards the end of the program. Jocelyn, this question is for you because you mentioned a lot of other initiatives aside from just this collaboration. So someone's asked, how can they learn more? Or I think more exactly, where can they go to learn more about these initiatives?
Sure, no, that's a wonderful question, and thank you for asking it. And we have our website up on the State Department, but I would actually ask you could definitely reach out and email me. If I type something into the chat, will everyone receive that? If I type my
yes, they will. If you
okay,
want to go ahead
perfect.
and type that.
Yeah, absolutely. So to learn more about the council and its work, I would absolutely welcome you to reach out to me. I am typing my email in. It's steinerj@state.gov. And just reach out, because if any of those other initiatives sounded great to you, of course, we're here today to talk about the accelerator, but all of the initiatives work together. And as you could hear, there's a lot of overlap in what we're doing and the accelerator, trying to target different problems that women face.
Well, there's another question, and I think I'm going to end it with that question, unless, of course, you want to add something, which is this is the first of, I believe, of quite a few accelerator programs that are going to be launched jointly between the council and Paklaunch. And is there a timeline for when the next one will be held, or do you have a certain number? Because I'm sure a lot of women who don't make it through to this round or who hear about it would love to participate in the second or the third or the fourth.
Sure, no, I can go ahead and start, but I will defer. I will let everyone know that really, the State Department is here to kind of facilitate this, and this is really being driven by Paklaunch, which we're so grateful for. And I think our thought right now is to begin with approximately 50 women and scale up. We hope to reach at least 250 women. And I don't want to speak for Ali and Paklaunch, but depending on how it goes, if we see a lot of success and a lot of demand, I think we're certainly committed to this being an ongoing initiative over the years. This particular accelerator program, as you saw on the calendar, basically goes through about August. So it's for about 4 or 5 months, but I think we'll assess and hope to start kind of on a roaming basis. I see Ali's come off camera, so Ali, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I think you just answered it. Like we're doing it for the first time, so we will learn from it, and next time around we might increase the size of the cohort, Shumaisa. But the how we plan to finish this particular accelerator is after the pitching competition, we want to have an in-person event where we plan to bring in 2 international VCs tier 1 VCs, hopefully to Islamabad and do an in-person event where we will have local VCs, international VCs, judge the top 10 attendees and the pitches. So our goal is to help the entrepreneurs who go through this program and raise funding, help them with finding mentors and help them grow. So
Thank you, Ali. That was very comprehensive. Thank you, Jocelyn. I think you really summed it up very well when you explained that the importance of having mentorship. It can mean a world of difference to somebody who's, looking to take their business or their idea to the next level. So thank you so much. We're going to move on to our panel discussion right now. For the panel discussion, we're joined by Farooq OS. He is the Director of Sales and Business Development for Samsung. He's based out of New York. Assalamu alaikum, Farooq. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. How about you?
I'm very well, thank you. And Farooq is going to be moderating the panel discussion. So Farooq, over to you. And I'm sure you have a lot to discuss with the three fantastic female entrepreneurs who have a lot of relevant advice to give to all the women who are interested in applying for this program.
Thank you so much, Shumaisa. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. And assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Farooq Awais. As Shumaisa mentioned, I'm based out of New York City. Today, I'm honored to be moderating this panel comprising three highly accomplished women entrepreneurs. They run very diverse set of businesses. We have today on our panel, Dr. Sara Saeed Khurram. She is the co-founder and CEO of Sehat Kahani. It's a health tech startup that has raised more than $1 million. We also have Madiha Latif. She is the managing partner of Zuria Door. It's an up-and-coming made-to-fit luxury fashion brand. And then we have Fatma Zaka. She is the founder of Farmate. It's a premium and fresh produce distribution venture. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
So let's start with you, Fatma. How did you come up with the marketing strategy for your business?
Right. So from the very beginning, we were very clear that we want to create a brand that all our consumers love associating with. So initially, we did not have any marketing budget. So we relied heavily on primary market research and our understanding of the consumer mindset. And since we entered the niche market, what we did was we started a lot of educational and awareness campaigns, which were directly aligned with our marketing. So as everything was locally produced, and we were kind of discouraging market not to not to buy imported, and instead of substitute the imports, we were encouraging people to buy the locally grown, produced by very progressive farmers from across Pakistan. So yeah, this is what we did. The educating, the educational and the awareness campaigns, and they started organically converting into sales. And as we are now a 2-year-old startup, we have collected a lot of data. We have over 2,000 household customers, along with multiple P2P customers. Now we use the same data in order to, formulate our marketing strategy for different seasons. So this is what we did. We were very, very clear that, we have to be very budget focused, and we have to rely on the revenues in order to build our business. So yeah, it was essentially direct marketing and very, very targeted marketing campaigns.
Thank you so much for that answer. I think one of the key points you mentioned is data. And I think having a data-driven approach to marketing will certainly get you to the next level, especially if you are an early stage venture looking to find that product market fit. Moving on, Madhya, let's bring you into the discussion here. Let's discuss your vision. What was the vision of your company when you were incorporating the company, and then how did you come up with your values and the mission statement?
So this is fairly simple. I'm actually trained as an engineer, and it's also aerospace engineering. And aerospace engineering in itself is a very futuristic field. I mean, there's a lot of work being done on this. Being in fashion is very accidental. And so you took that learning from being an outer space person to bringing it down to a garment sort of interactive level. The vision was fairly simple. Can we take fashion and make factories futuristic for the products that we have to make? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what product we're in, this is manufacturing. And manufacturing by any measure, it's hard. In fact, a lot of countries can no longer manufacture. So we thought, listen, Pakistan has a couple of problems. It is not plugged into any global supply chains. It's not making any products that people need. It has a huge workforce, but it's not making global products. So what can we do? So we took fashion, because there is a significant workforce there, and we were trying to build that up to the level of some of the engineering aspects that we've received. So for us, it's how do you build factories of the future right here in Pakistan, upskill the workforce, and try and giving them that singular core focus that why not us? Why can't we make great products that the world can buy from us? And we're starting simple with fashion, and we just want to see where that can go. But again, core, why not us? And if it is us, this is how we're going to do it.
That's great. Do you have a statement as well for your mission, as in what's the mission statement of the company? Okay,
so I normally don't play around with mission statements, but it's fairly simple. Build great product and charge for it. That's it, right?
Now, thank you so much for that. And I think with your engineering background, now venturing into fashion, that ability to solve problems through a systematic and mathematical way is always going to be a plus. So thank you for that answer. Sarah, let's bring you into the discussion. By the way, it's a pleasure to be connecting with you again. Now, funding and raising funds when you're starting a business is really hard. You got to think of multiple avenues. You got to have a pitch deck ready. So question comes to my mind is that how did you calculate the costs that were associated with your business when you were starting out? And how did you raise funds that were required for your startup?
Thank you, Farooq. I hope you can hear me well.
I certainly can, and hope everybody else can too. Thank you.
All right. So first of all, I just want to congratulate everyone on the call for the launch of the USPWC-Paklaunch Accelerator. Any accelerator for women is appreciated, is welcome. So congratulations to everyone for launching this today. So when we started the company in 2017, we're 6 years old today, a lot older than other companies out there. I think at that time, the funding avenues in terms of VC investing or angel investing were limited. So when we started, we calculated a monthly burn that we needed to grow the business for example, 12 months. That's how simply we started. So we calculated all the costs that we needed to run the business for 12 months. And we also calculated in between those 12 months, when will we start making revenue and how will our burn reduce down in these 12 months and what will we need in the next 12 months to grow further. And with that calculation, we started reaching out to different angel investors, people that we knew in the network, and also applied to some grants and startup competitions for a small amount of soft money, which will not help us give a lot of equity away in the early stage. And I think we were able to access some grant funding and soft funding at the very initial stage of the company in the first 12 months. And that really helped us in build the product, build the service, and save equity to not be diluted down in the subsequent rounds. So we raised our first equity round investment in 2018, 1 year after launching the business. And within that 1 year, all the funding that we gathered was soft funding. When we actually raised, we had traction, we had revenue, and we were able to raise at a better valuation than what we started with a year before. And that helped us give away lesser equity and save for subsequent rounds. So if you're raising funding very initially, I think the only thing you need to know is, what are your monthly costs that goes into building the service? When do you start making revenue? How do you reduce that burn down? And what is the amount of funding that can take you for the first 12 months or 18 months of your business? And always start with lesser amount of funding, lesser amount of equity giving away, lesser amount of money to take. Build the business, build it to a high valuation when you have customers, traction, different service lines that you're investing in. And that is when you open your round to larger VC investors or larger groups that can come and invest in your company.
So the order of the day is less is more, Sarah, right? Especially
Yes,
in the very beginning.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you a follow-up question here. You mentioned about monthly burn.
Yes.
Now, many of the up and coming entrepreneurs that we have today are starting out in a very uncertain environment with the economy, with the inflation high. How should the monthly burn rate be managed given the existing macroeconomic conditions, not just in Pakistan, but globally?
See, that really depends on what kind of service you're building. Some businesses are asset heavy, some businesses are asset light. It really depends on the problem that you're solving. But I think now I think we need to really think out of the box when we consider, for example, HR. There is no need to bring your HR 5 days in a week to work to make them spend the fuel that they are in coming to work. You can easily manage with a hybrid culture in which sometimes they come to office, sometimes they work from home. There are so many positions that you can overlap because of new advents. So for example, something that we're using now in content development is ChatGPT, which has reduced our content writers load up to 50%. We don't need an SEO person anymore because that's something that we do using another AI tool. Marketing can be handled very, very easily with lesser resources. So I think if you incorporate technology, if you are thinking a bit conservatively, if you do not go for a very fancy office, a lot of Shazam that is around these days, if you keep it simple, there is a way to weather the storm. But all this can happen if you have a product that has the ability to solve a problem and in the end, make the revenue that will come in to support that burn. If you're just burning down, raising investment, burning down, but not creating any money at the end of that long, dark tunnel, eventually it will not make sense. So everyone has a burn initially when they're starting out the business, but it should reduce down as you start building your product, marketing your product, selling your product to the customers. And if the customer is not buying the product at the end of the day, if it's not something that's making you that cash at the end of the day, then you really need to think on if the problem that you're solving is going to be a sustainable problem to solve, whether in Pakistan, outside Pakistan, regionally, globally, everywhere, the service has to attract payable customers.
Certainly, and I think it's a constant jive and drive to see how you could reduce that monthly burn while making sure that your product sells more and it's in line with what the customers need. So apparently HR, whether to keep them full-time or part-time, is just one of many, many challenges that the founders will be facing in the months and quarters to come. So with that, Fatima, maybe if I could have you answer a question from our audiences as to what were your biggest challenges. I'm sure they were perhaps more profound than just an HR problem, but HR is a big issue, right? Especially in this economy. But let's hear from you as to how you managed your biggest challenges and how you were able to overcome them.
Right. So yeah, this is the kind of question that I'm often asked when I'm sitting on agri panels, because everybody knows that agri is a heavily male-dominated supply chain. So culturally, everybody connected in the supply chain is not used to women in the front end and, dealing with them directly. So yeah, initially, although I have been associated with farming myself for a very, very long time, but as an entrepreneur, this is kind of new to me. So I was not used to it. Initially it was very, very challenging, but early on, very, very early on, I realized that, I cannot change the culture, and the sets are not going to change anytime soon. All I have control over is whatever is going on over here, my thoughts and how I feel, and my fears and my ego, etc. Right? So I started changing my attitude. I had to correct my attitude and how I feel very, very early on when I started farming. Now what happens is I move around, I attend agri panels and meetings and conferences, etc., where everybody around me are men. But what I have started doing is I tell myself, no, they're all humans, regardless of the gender. So I just see them as humans, and I have stopped feeling anything, right? So sometimes the confidence, the frequency of my confidence is so high that my fellow colleagues in the agri sector, they start feeling uncomfortable, and it's kind of sometimes it's very funny, the reactions I get. So yeah, it's all good. It's a continuous and ongoing challenge, but it's just that I start working on my attitude towards that.
Well, what I can tell you is that if you have been farming for that long, then you probably are upping millions of people, men and women combined. I cannot even probably garden single plant of rose. My wife takes care of that. So that kind of tells you that having that as a skill set is how important. So Madhya, let's have you answer a question here. We always have these aha or gotcha moments when we are coming against any unexpected item that you probably did not consider in the beginning, but then you have had to, after a certain data became available, etc. Were there any key learnings during the course of building your startup in that area?
So let me just quote from what's happening right now. You talked about inflation. I would say, let's say, for example, if our, let's say for example purposes, let's say I set the target for our company for $1 million for this year. That's just being devalued by 30 to 40% just because our earnings are in PKR. Nothing is a much bigger aha moment than, wow, I did not see this coming, right? Because we want to become an international business at one point. And because our earnings are in PKR, every year, even though we're putting extra effort into building that business, is being valued less and less, right? And I'm still trying to understand, how do we secure this business from something so basic as currency hitting us in the gut, right? Something so basic as inflation hitting us in the gut, because the price of making the product is going up. That means the price we have to charge the customer is going up. That means we have to justify why we're doing these things. I mean, this learning it's very hard. And I wish someone had told us before to watch out for this, because the country is going to get hit pretty bad, and it's going to get, I mean, not to sound pessimistic, just to prepare ourselves as entrepreneurs, because we don't want to go under. It's probably going to get worse in the next 12 and 18 months, given whatever is happening with the external debt and whatnot. So the learnings now we're trying to figure out is, okay, how do we have sort of an outpost for the business? So it's not, there's an operational side in Pakistan, but there's an outpost in perhaps other countries to secure ourselves from a lot of these hits that are going to come. That's where we are right now. That learning is coming through, and it's tormenting in a way, because you get stuck. Like I agree with what Fatma was saying. A lot of the times you get stuck in your head trying to figure out, okay, how I'm going to do this, and you get stuck in this loop. And someone who could be advisors or mentors really need to come and sort of give us advice, because people who have gone through these boom and bust cycles in different ways, we have not had that exposure at all. So learning this the hard way is obviously at the expense of our own learning, and we all have a limited number of years. And I say, you know, our output is, let's say, 30 maximum output years. What you don't want to do is waste a lot of that just having these massive learnings come your way when someone could have just told you in advance, guys, listen, watch out for this, and you prepare yourself accordingly.
Yes, and I think this is the reason why having such accelerators is so critical. And I would highly recommend to everyone who is participating today to register and to take benefit from all the office hours and the seminars that will be part of this accelerator program. So kudos to Ali Fahad, Jocelyn, and team for coming up with this idea, and hopefully this will go a long way. With that, Sarah, let's bring you into the discussion again. Madiha spoke about forex exchange headwinds and how that has impacted her business. But if you are just starting a business and as an entrepreneur, what would you consider to be the 3 most important things as an entrepreneur, as a go-getter, as somebody who is trying to break the mold? What would be your advice, the top 3 things?
Yeah. Actually, Farooq, before answering the question, I would just take on Madiha's point a bit further.
Sure.
You know, so the analogy that we use at Sehat Kahani is, when a boat is sinking, what do? You take off all the load from the boat, right? And you keep the essential things going, because what the end goal is, you have to reach the shore. You have to make it through, and you don't want the boat to sink. So you need to take off all the load, which is the extra load, and keep the basic things in. And those basic things are only the people that you're working with. Because if people are with you, if your team is with you in this storm, you can wither it till the end. So I think just something that we use in our company to keep ourselves motivated in this tough time for Fatma, and for Madiha as well. I think if I was starting out today, the basic, and whenever you're starting out as a female or a male entrepreneur, I think the first thing that I would ask is this even a problem that needs solving? There are a lot of things when we think that, you know, this is something that is extremely important and it's extremely challenging, and this should be done all over the world. But when you go out of the shell in those initial years, you realize that someone has already solved this, or a version of it is available. So is this actually a problem worth solving? The second part, and I see some questions on the chat around this as well, is this the right time for you to get into this problem and solve it now? Are you emotionally ready? Are you mentally ready? Are you financially ready? Is your family ready to make that compromise for you? Because running a company of your own is like raising a child. It's even difficult because, you know, children grow up and companies are slower in those initial years, and they're more painful. So I think that question is extremely important, particularly in the uncertainty that we are in. That can you block this 3 years window in your time to solve this problem now from all the different angles of a work-life balance? The third thing that I would ask myself is my flame big enough to continue burning for the next 5 years? Is this as close to my heart that I would be excited for this every day coming to work? Is this something that's going to keep continuing in my life for the next 5 years, even if there are family issues, inflation issues, if the ceiling falls on my face, if the country goes under any kind of impending default, etc., etc.? Is it going to be worth all that? If you think that yes, it is something that keeps you up at night, happily, not in the form of anxiety or stress, is something that you want to do for the next 3 to 5 years, you as a person are ready to take this on, then definitely I would say that bring it on. And if you have those 3 things, you'll be able to survive whatever is coming your way for the next 3 to 5 years as you build this.
Very good. So weather the storm, stay close with your colleagues, your partners, and have faith. And while the economy for Pakistan and many other countries is going to be a problem, there are going to be a ton of forex exchange headwinds in the quarters to come. We hope for the best, and together we will win, inshallah. With that, we have, I think, about 6 to 8 minutes left. Let us do a quick roundtable here, where I would like to give each one of you maybe a minute or two to share your thoughts on this accelerator, and if you have any other points that you want to speak about. Let's start with you, Fatma.
Okay, so yeah, one point I would, it's if there are some aspiring female entrepreneurs right now live, there's
I'm sure
something I
there are
would really
many. I'm sure there are
yeah,
many. There are
yeah,
57
great to
right
see.
now. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So there's just one question I'm often asked by a lot of aspiring female entrepreneurs. You know, how are we going to start, right? So I always tell them, you know, nobody is going to make you start it. You know, you have to jump the ship yourself, and, you know, stop complaining, stop comparing yourself with others. Okay, if Fatma, if this one point in Fatma's life is going well for her, maybe that's why she's an entrepreneur. Maybe there are 2-3 things that are going well in your life, and maybe I don't have those things in my life, right? But there should be no excuse for not doing anything, right? If you want to follow your dream, you know, you just have to do it. Nobody is, you know, really going to push you into the deep end. You just have to jump yourself. So yeah, complaining and comparing, and, you know, these things will really slow down your personal growth and your career growth.
Thank you so much. All right. So no complaining, anyone. Let's just focus on your startups, and let's have Paklaunch's and the State Department's astute and seasoned leaders help you along the way. Madhya, your turn.
Just so for the accelerator program, I think beyond anything else, the money will come if you have the learning and the knowledge. And I think essentially that's what the accelerator programs do all over the world, right? Plus, they're fantastic networking opportunities. I've had the chance to witness some of Paklaunch's other events, and I've met people I never thought I would, and the sort of learning that I've gotten from them, that's just priceless. You can't put a number to it because it goes throughout your life. So it's fantastic, these opportunities. And with men, they have these boys clubs around playing golf, and a lot of opportunities and activities happen around these golfing sessions. There's nothing equivalent for women, right? So the next best thing you can get is an accelerator program. So it's not a bad initiative to take on. And then perhaps you can have intergender, college golf competitions coming up through Paklaunch and whatnot. But we kind of have to break some of these barriers down with very segregated activities happening. There has to be an intersection between men and women entrepreneurs, or like Fatma says, humans interacting, because otherwise you can't uplift the whole ecosystem, and you have to do it in the same time.
You know what, speaking about activities, I recently picked up pickleball. So I play golf, but pickleball is easy. You don't have to take too many classes, and it's typically co-educational. So you'll see men and women kind of playing together. So I would highly recommend everyone, if they want to de-stress, then pickleball could be a good way to do so.
Also, because you volunteered this information because you play golf, how many women are in your golfing circle?
It's in the US. I mean, I play typically in Jersey. It's I would say not too much. I would say maybe 20-30%.
Single digits.
20-30%.
Okay. Well, there you go. You just validated what I was saying earlier.
More, absolutely, certainly. Sarah, any thoughts from your side?
I think I'll continue with what Madhya and Fatma was saying, but I think in all the communities that I've been, in all the programs that I've been, the only ones that I remember now are the programs that gave me a safe space to be vulnerable and talk about me as a human, me as a person, the challenges that I was facing, and connect with them and listen to their everything else, whether it was pitching or it was investor circles, that I don't think counted as much. So if the accelerator can create a safe space for female entrepreneurs to discuss anything which makes them vulnerable, which is a challenge, which pushes them back from performing to their fullest, and gives them a solution in the form of mentorship or connections or community, or maybe as a soundboard to listen and to say it's okay. You know, you're going through it. The other girl in the left hand corner has also gone through it. I have also gone through it, and we will do this together. I think a lot of times, everyone, whether it's a man or woman, we need reinforcement. We need motivation. We need someone to say it's going to be okay. We're going to move forward, and you will make it through. And I think that safe space is extremely important. It's also missing from a lot of Pakistani communities. And particularly, I don't think women have that, because as Madhya said, I won't call it the boy club, but I think men meet more, so they have more connections. And they meet more in non-formal settings. You know, they meet for chai or meet for dinners, but women don't get that opportunity because how our culture is and how responsibilities are dealt with in Pakistan. So I think creating that space that they can just, you know, laugh and joke and be a little stupid and share their challenges that they can't do in formal environments where they're not wearing a formal shirt and a formal pant and trying to look very cool and collected. I think that feeling is extremely important. And if you create that cohort of women, if you manage to create those cohort of 50 women the first time, they will become your biggest champions, your biggest cheerleaders, your biggest support system for the women who are coming after them. So I think that would be something that I would look forward to in the accelerator.
Well, it was a pleasure moderating this session with you, Dr. Sara Said Khurram, CEO of Sayed Kahani, Madhya Latif, Managing Partner at Zuria Door, and Fatma Zaka, the founder at Farmed. All the participants are encouraged to connect with them. Their names are obviously here. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn. And ladies, if you would like to share your contact details, please do so. I think many of the entrepreneurs that we have today on this call would welcome your guidance and your support. With that, I turn it back to Shamaisa.
Thank you, Farooq, and thank you, Fatma, Madhya, and Sarah, for being a part of this panel. It's interesting. I noticed that, I mean, this is probably the third session that I have hosted for Paklaunch, and I'm a woman who's worked in Pakistan predominantly as a broadcast journalist, and now I'm here in New York working at Columbia. But I have to say that this question, is it possible to build a wildly successful company without burning out or damaging other parts of your family? I've never really heard men ask that question. So whenever I hear these questions, it makes me think, you know, I mean, well, and from what I've learned, it is what it is. And if you have to get to where you have to, sometimes you have to be the disruptor. You know, if the door doesn't open, you break open a window. I don't know, but I think women are pretty resilient, and they can come together and forge ahead and find venues to get together, whether they're golf. I know a lot of women who excel at golf, or whether it's just tea. But it's really wonderful to have Paklaunch and the men at Paklaunch support this. So what I will want to do before we end this is I'd like Ali to just jump in with his closing remarks, because like many of his initiatives, I would say this is very special and one that is very close to my heart. So Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize on the closing some of the things about this program and what makes it slightly unique. There are multiple other accelerator programs, but one of the things that we are trying to design with this is, if you notice the webinars and the speakers we have tried to bring in folks who have a lot of industry experience. So starting on 30th of April, we have Umair Ansari, Abi. He has raised probably, you know, one of the highest funds in Pakistan. Aksam Zahir runs one of the largest legal platforms for the startups. Tabana Jabin is based out of Dallas, SVP. Dr. Saira has raised the most funds for any female in Pakistan at the seed stage. Anwar Kabir is also alumni president. and he also runs a PR agency, very successful one. So he'll talk about PR and marketing. And then Naveen Qureshi she's part of YC Sable that has recently gone through acquisition. She's based out of New York. So they bring in a lot of experience. We also have close to 30 mentors all over the globe with a lot of experience who will be helping providing one-on-one mentoring for the folks joining in. And as I said earlier on, for the pitch competition, we're planning to, out of the cohort of 50, we will encourage all of them to submit the pitches. And then out of those top 10, we'll get the chance to pitch in front of the international VCs. And we are speaking with quite a few tier one VCs who might be joining us in Islamabad live. The only requirement is it's free. You have to join in all the 6 webinars. There's a 2-week in between most of these webinars to give you time to digest the topic and ask questions from the mentors. We will share again the application process or the form. I think I've shared it in the chat as well. It will be on the social media. We'll share the recording as well. But we definitely encourage you to apply before April 20th because we are doing it for the first time. We are trying to, limit it to 50 to 60 women entrepreneurs. So please apply as soon as possible, and we will notify you by 25th. And then we will kick off the program starting April 30th. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to admin@paklaunch.com, or you can just send me a message on LinkedIn.
Thank you,
I think that
Ali.
was pretty much it.
Yeah, thank you. That was very comprehensive. And I'd like Jocelyn to just, add any closing remarks that she would want to. And specifically because we were talking about these questions that women face, and, you are in the field, whereas the director of US-Pakistan Women's Council, I'm sure you've come across these questions about balancing, not for yourself per se, but women must have this concern about balancing work and personal life, especially with the requirements that are placed on them. And you heard what I've said. I've just said, be the disruptor, take full agency. But yes, I'll just let you take over from here.
Thank you so much. I would just like to thank all of the panelists and Farouk for leading such a great and inspiring discussion. I'm excited to hear the enthusiasm and the appreciation for the accelerator. Of course, we know that there are other, initiatives out there, but it's great to hear the support and that there truly is a need, and hopefully we can address that. And even if it's, as we start out and help grow it. I do have to say one thing. I am also a pickleball player, and I play almost exclusively with women. So big fan of that. I took every ounce of restraint not to interrupt in the panel and say, hey, I also play pickleball. So I'm thrilled to have the chance to say it now. Interestingly, my pickleball group is almost exclusively women. So we do have that network. I don't play with
but
many
isn't
men.
It enjoyable, Jocelyn?
It's addictive. Right? Enjoyable is an understatement. It's addictive. No, but thank you for that. But the other thing I was going to say, I think to your question, Shumaisa, on this issue of being a woman and having to make choices and set priorities and keep balance and all of that. That's one of the great things that women bring to the table, honestly, is that they by nature are more emotional and more balanced, which is necessary, right? And we make up 50% of the world's population. And so if we're not including women and hearing our voices, and who's your primary customer base, who does the shopping, who does it, it's women. And so just when it becomes the norm, I think we won't have to ask these questions anymore. And another thought that I've recently heard multiple times is that I work primarily in Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan. And we hear stories all the time about how young women are empowered to work and be employed and bring home income to their families. And as soon as that starts happening, they become very valuable members of that family, and that family's mind frame, or it just changes, because it's like, hey, this, just because she's a woman, she's contributing to our income. And it becomes, it's like you say, like just by doing the example, breaking down the barriers, saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to prove that I add value, and that can change the framework of the way that people think. But I could go on about this forever, but I will let you all go, and just with sincere gratitude to Sarah, Fatima, and Madia for offering your emails too, already starting to help build up this group of women. It's just wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to see what's going to come, and just encourage people to please apply. Send it out to your networks. If you know of women startups, we would love to have as many potentials as possible. And if you don't make it into this first cohort, no worries, we're going to be expanding and growing more. And so thank you, Shumaisa, and thank you, Ali, as always.
Thank you, everyone. And again, Eid Mubarak in advance. Hope you have a wonderful day, the rest of your day, wherever you are. And as always, Ali, I think we should just end with the slide. So in case people, and just leave that on for like a few minutes. So if anybody wants to go ahead and access that information, they can do it right now. Otherwise, as always, the recording. Thank you and goodbye.
Okay, thanks all for joining.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ali. It went
Alafis.
great.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Bye now.